بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين اللهم أخرجني من ظلمات الوهم وأكرمني بنور الفهم اللهم افتح علينا أبواب رحمتك وانشر علينا خزائن علومك برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. Alhamdulillah, we finished the rule of al-ilzam, and now we start the rule of suq al-muslimin, Muslim market. This is one of important rules in fiqh because it's about the way Muslims interact with each other and coexist, even if they belong to different schools of Islam. Our fuqaha, our jurists, normally refer to this rule in fiqh when they talk about najasa, for example, and one type of najasa is mita, a dead animal. And then they say that, for example, if this eatable animal like sheep or goat is slaughtered properly, it is not najas, otherwise najas. Then they enter into another discussion that how we can establish that it is slaughtered properly. How we can establish tazkiyah. We call it tazkiyah. Yeah? Tazkiyah with dhal, not tazkiyah with za. We have tazkiyah with za, which means to purify. Yuzakihim, like zakat. But we have tazkiyah with dhal, means a slaughter. So we have asalatu adam tazkiyah. Yeah? We assume something is not slaughtered properly unless it is proved otherwise, because when it was alive, it was not slaughtered properly. Yeah. So we assume that it's not slaughtered properly unless we can prove otherwise. So in that discussion, our scholars may refer to this rule, or in Kitab al-Sayd wa al-Dhabaha when they talk about slaughtering. So again, we will discuss here few things. One is madhmun al-qa'ida. What's the definition of this qa'ida? Then what is the proof for this qa'ida? Then we'll talk about yadul Muslim, hand of Muslim. Then we talk whether suq or market is amara or not, as a sign or not. And then we talk, if it is amara, what is the mechanism? How market is a sign? Is market a sign directly and primarily, or market is a sign for Muslim hand to be involved? We will talk about it. Then we will talk about the fact that here it doesn't make difference which school of Islam you are dealing with. The butcher doesn't need to be from our own school of Islam. It can be from other schools of Islam. Then finally we will talk about something which is not purchased from Muslim market, but it is produced by Muslims. For example, in a market here, you buy something which is produced in a Muslim country. What is the ruling here if that is involving leather or something that needs tazkiyah? So first we start with madhmunul qa'ida. We say qa'idatu suq al-muslimin is only related to the issue of tazkiyah. Please remember, it has nothing to do with tahara, because for tahara we have qa'idatu tahara. So we don't use qa'idatu suq al-muslimin to say something is tahir or not. For that we have another rule. Yeah? Or for example, if you doubt whether the person who is selling owns it or not, again for that we have another qaida that yes, when someone has yad over something, it's an evidence that he has authority to deal with it. So those are different issues. Qa'idatu suq al-Muslimin, it's only when we want to clarify the issue of tadhkiyah with dal, means the issue of proper slaughtering. Okay? Why this is very important? Because if we were not able to verify tadhkiyah, there is istishab of adamu tadhkiyah that makes it najas to use or haram to eat. Yeah, if there is for example, cow, and now you want to buy the meat, you cannot eat it without checking, without investigation. Why? Because this was not slaughtered at a certain point. It was alive. And unless it is proved that it is slaughtered properly, you cannot eat from it. So if it has died by itself, if it has been killed, if it has been slaughtered but not with conditions, you cannot eat. So we have istishabu adam al-tadhkiyah, and that istishab can only be stopped if we know that the previous condition for sure has been changed. And that is when you have evidence that it is slaughtered properly. Yes?
Can you explain this tazkiyah again?
Tadhkiyah with dhal means proper dhibh. Yes. So, istishab of adamu tadhkiyah is there, and it implies that we cannot eat the meat, and we cannot, for example, say our prayer in a dress which is made by this, and the leather would be najas, all these things, because it would be meter. So, if you buy this meat or this leather in a Muslim market, you can use it, because we have qa'idatu suq al-Muslimin. A meat or a leather which is purchased in Muslim market, you can use it. So this is madhmun al-qa'ida. So you understood that this is different from the issue of tahara or ownership. It's just a matter of tadhkiyah, which would lead to the issue of permissibility of eating, using as a dress, and najasa, which is based on tadhkiyah. If it is not tadhkiyah, it is najas. What's the proof? On what basis ulama have come up with this rule? The first argument here is siratul mutasharra'a. You know, sometimes we have bina'ul uqala, sometimes we have the bina or sira of mutasharra'a. Uqala means rational people. Whether they are religious or not, they may have such habit. Like in Khabar Wahid, we said uqala. Yeah, when they receive a news from a reliable person, they accept. That's bina'ul uqala. But siratul mutasharra'a means religious people, in this case Muslims who are practicing. If they have a habit, if they have a way of dealing with this issue which is established over centuries, this can be a sign. Here you cannot use bina'ul uqala, because uqala they may not deal with the issue of dhibh, Yeah, for them najasa and tahara or hilliya of eating meat, or it's not relevant. So here, if anyone wants to argue, should be able to prove siratul mutasharrah. It seems not questionable. Actually, the author here brings siratul mutasharrah even before mentioning hadith. Normally, we bring first ayat and ahadith, then siratul mutasharrah or bina'ul uqala. But here he brings it first. And he says, it seems that Muslims throughout centuries have always had this habit that they go to market and buy meat. Is anyone in doubt about this? Can you say that Muslims didn't trust market and they all slaughtered in their home? No. Or say that, for example, they only purchased meat from someone that they were 100% sure that is doing tazkiyah properly. No. They were going to market and buying from the market. Or when they are traveling, they go to another town, go to the market, and they buy. And this is different from bina'ul uqala in another aspect. Bina'ul uqala, to be valid for us, needs imza or shari, or adamu rad'a shari, at least. Either shari has to endorse it, yeah, or has to be silent about it, doesn't criticize it. If something is done by uqala and in the presence of shari, or when shari is watching, seeing, aware of it, and shari either says, I am happy with this, or it's silent, we said it's valid. But siratul mutasharra'a doesn't need this, because siratul mutasharra'a must have actually originated from shari. Because how mutasharra'a have started this? It means that it must be something they have learned from shari. For example, Rasulullah, Imams, they themselves were doing this, and then it remained as a common practice and habit among Muslims. So the first thing is siratul mutasharrah. The second argument that the author brings is, if we don't accept this rule, it would lead to disorder. Ikhtilalun nizam. Muslims' lives would be disturbed. There would be no order. Because either everyone has to go and buy an animal and slaughter for himself, or everyone has to go and check so that he can be 100% sure that this butcher has slaughtered properly or has purchased from people who have slaughtered properly. This causes big problem in the community life. So this is the second argument, that it would have consequences which would not be acceptable. The third argument is some hadith that we have in this regard. As an example, for example, we can mention Sahihatu Fudail wa Zurara wa Muhammad ibn Muslim. Actually, we mentioned here few examples, but there are more. You can find many more hadith. We mentioned few examples. The first example, Imam Baqir alayhi salam was asked, and this is mentioned by Fudail, by Zurara, by Muhammad ibn Muslim. So more than one person have narrated this from Imam Baqir alayhi salam. It's sahihah, it's authentic. They ask Imam Baqir alayhi salam, an shira' al-luhum min al-aswaq wala yudra ma sana'a al-qassabun. They ask Imam about buying meat from markets, and it is not known what butchers have done. We are not sure they have done that properly, but we need to buy from them. Imam alayhi salam, according to this hadith that you find it in Wasa'il al-Shia, said كل كل eat كل أكل يأكل كل yeah it's صيغة أمر eat of course you know أمر when it is in a context that person thinks about prohibition means jawaz. Yeah, when someone says, is it possible to eat? And you say eat, it doesn't mean it's wajib to eat. Yeah? Amr here means permissibility. When we say eat means it's permissible. You remember in commands, we had this discussion. Kul, eat, means it's possible to eat. إذا كان ذلك في سوق المسلمين. If this meat is purchased in Muslim market, eat. ولا تسأل عنه. Don't ask questions. Don't inquire from this butcher. If it's a Muslim market, then you can eat and you don't need to investigate. This riwayah is sahiha, so the sanad is okay, and dilala also seems to be clear. Yeah, that if you buy from Muslim market, you don't need to inquire. The next hadith is Muwaththaqatu Ishaq ibn Ammar an al-Abd al-Salih. Ishaq ibn Ammar and Imam alayhi salam narrates لا بأس بالصلاة في الفراء اليماني. Fira is the plural for farv. Farv means a skin of animal that is made as leather, or is made for dress. It can be different animals. They use it as a clothes. Okay? Fira is the plural form. Sometimes they used to bring from Yemen. Sometimes they used to bring from Iraq. Different. We will mention, for example, it's coming from Iraq, from Yemen. Here it's about Yemen. If this clothes, which is made from the skin of animal, we want to pray in this. Praying in this requires that it must be not meter. It must be done proper zip. So as Imam said, لا بأس بالصلاة في الفراء اليماني وفيما صنع في أرض الإسلام. If this is produced in a Muslim land, it's okay. Later we will use this hadith for the issue of when you buy here, for example, market is not Muslim market, for example, but it is produced in a Muslim land. We will use this hadith again. قلت فإن كان فيها غير أهل الإسلام. So if non-Muslims are also there and they don't observe zibh, as we do, Imam alayhi salam replied according to this hadith, إذا كان الغالب عليها المسلمين فلا بأس. If it comes from a land that is not 100% inhabited by Muslims, but in that land the majority are Muslims. Yes.
If we use the same, can we use for example, there is a Muslim dominating market. Most of the shopkeepers are Muslim, but maybe 1 or 2 or 3 of them are non-Muslim. They are selling meat as well. This rule will apply to them as well?
Yes.
So we can buy
it. Seems, yeah. We will actually talk about this based on what is the main point. Is the main point su, or the main point is to be from a Muslim buyer, a Muslim seller? We will talk about. Again, sanad is okay. It's muwathaqa. And he says, Sheikh Tusi rahmatullah alayh narrates this from his own sources. up to Sa'd and Sa'd from Ayub, the son of Nuh, from Abdullah ibn Mughayra, from Ishaq, and they are all thiqah, no problem. Tariq al-Sheikh to Sa'd is also okay. Dalala, it seems also to be clear. So there is no issue with this. The third is Sahiha from Bazanti. This Sahiha doesn't mention the name of the final person, which must be Imam. But there is no problem because we know Bazanti was such a high narrator that he would not narrate except from Imam alayhi salam. And also before in the first volume we had a discussion that when they don't mention the name and they bring a pronoun, it means that that must be ma'hud. They know to whom they are referring. Sa'altuhu. This is pronoun, means Imam alayhi salam. Ana rajul ya'ta as-suq. I ask him about someone who comes to the market. فَيَشْتَرِي جُبَّةَ فِرَاء. He buys a dress to put on, like a coat, for example, something. But it's from a skin of animal. لَا يُدْرَى الذَّكِيَّةٌ with dal means slaughtered properly. هي أم غير ذكية. He doesn't know is it properly slaughtered or not. أيصلي فيها. Can he pray in this dress, in this clothes? Of course, here, because it's not issue of eating. What the problem is only prayer. Otherwise, you can have a clothes from something which is not slaughtered properly. Yeah, you can have a leather, but you have to be careful not to say prayer in it, and also about najasa, you have to be careful. Otherwise, there is no problem in using it. So the question is, أيصلي فيها؟ فقال نعم ليس عليكم المسألة. You don't need to question. You don't need to inquire. إن أبا جعفر عليه السلام. Then Imam alayhi salam says, Imam Baqir alayhi salam used to say, كان يقول إن الخوارج ضيقوا على أنفسهم بجهالتهم. إن الدين أوسع من ذلك. Khawarij, they were very rigid and strict, and they made everything difficult for themselves. ضيقوا على أنفسهم. They made it difficult for them. They limited it and narrowed it for themselves because they didn't have knowledge. إن الدين أوسع من ذلك. Religion is more open and gives you more room than this. Awsa means there is more space, and yeah. So this shows that it's not good to inquire or investigate because you may put mu'min into difficulty. Okay? Of course, if you are able to establish a sound system for halal meat, that's good. But if you are not able to do anything except making life difficult for people, then you don't need to make life, So if you have, mashallah, good number of people and you can establish your own chain of butcheries and make halal available, reliable, that's good. But if you are just saying people don't buy from this, don't buy from that, don't buy from that, then you make life difficult for people, and also some people may totally then disregard anything and buy from, because there is a risk. If you say these halal shops are haram, some people don't eat there and they have difficulty, but some people then start eating in haram shop. They say this is haram, that is also haram, so I eat from haram shop. You have to be careful. So we have to try, if possible, to establish our own chains or verify reliable chains, but not to put too much doubt in the mind of people if you are not able to do anything. So, this is Sahihatu Sanad because Sheikh al-Tusi narrates this from reliable sources and reaches Ibn Mahbub and then Ahmad ibn Muhammad al-Ash'ari, alladhi, he says is thiqatun. He is very thiqa, reliable, from Bazanti, and no problem. The issue of hadith being mudmara means the name is not mentioned of Imam, it's just Zamir, pronoun. I said that's not a problem because Bazanti was very high in his status and he was not quoting from anyone other than Imam, and so there is no problem in this. So we mentioned 3 examples of the hadith which are reliable. 2 are Sahiha, 1 is Muwathaqah, and there are many more hadiths you can find in Wasa'il al-Shia. The next point, after talking about definition and proof, is Yadul Muslim, hand of Muslim. You have to distinguish between 2 things. Sometimes it's a matter of Suqul Muslimin. Sometimes it's a matter of buying from a Muslim. You may say, what's the difference? The difference is clear. Maybe you buy from a Muslim shop, but there is no Muslim market. Yeah, like here. There's a Muslim shop on the road, on the street, but it's not a Muslim market. And sometimes can be Muslim market, but there is a non-Muslim butcher there, for example, or who sells, leather. So if the criterion is Suqul Muslimin, it may not need to be taken from Muslim. If it is Yadul Muslim, then it doesn't need to be Suqul Muslimin. So there are 2 different issues. We have to find out what's the real requirement. To be in Muslim market or to be from a Muslim seller. He says when we refer to riwayah, to the hadith, we find they mention Suqul Muslimin, market. They mention market. But it seems that market, this is Sheikh Irwani's conclusion. He says it seems that although market is mentioned, but it's not that market was literally required. The reason market was mentioned, Muslim market, is because buying from a Muslim market was a sign of buying from a Muslim, a slaughter house or Muslim, butcher. Otherwise, it seems that the issue of market as such is not necessary. So he says, what is really the sign and amara for tazkiyah is Yadul Muslim, not market itself. To buy it from a Muslim, get it from a Muslim hand. And buying in a Muslim market is a sign for being from a Muslim hand. It's amaratun ala amara. So the main amara is Yadul Muslim. But buying from a Muslim market, then you don't need to investigate whether he's a Muslim or not. Yeah? If you are in a non-Muslim market or non-Muslim community, you have to make sure that this person is Muslim. But if you are in a Muslim market is a sign that this person is Muslim. And then to take it from Muslim is a sign that tazkiyah has been done. So, he says, إِذَنْ أمارة على التذكية في ضوء هذا. Under the light of what we said, the sign for تذكية هي يد المسلم دون السوق نفسها. It's the hand of Muslim. That's the real amara. The primary amara is that one, not market itself. إنما السوق أمارة على الأمارة. Buying from Muslim market is a sign that you are buying from a Muslim, and buying from a Muslim is a sign for tazkiyah. Then he wants to reflect on market being amara. He says, is this something ta'abbudi or is something aqli, something rational? Ta'abbudi means something that you have to accept it because it has been said by Sharia, but it's not something that has a rational explanation. Do you understand? So it's ta'abbudi or it's aqli. He says there seems to be something rational here also. It's not just ta'abbudi. Yeah? Ta'abbudi means, if Shara tells us that you have to avoid this, we accept, even if you don't know the reason. But we know that there is a reason that we don't know. But here there seems to be a reason that if we use our aql, we can make sense of it, we can understand it. Suq al-Muslimin has a rational point here. He says, Amaratun linuktatin uqala'iyyah. There is a rational point here, something uqala would appreciate. What is that? It is that it's kashif, means it discovers, it shows, it's a sign that you are buying from a Muslim. Kawn al-ba'i'a Muslim. When you buy from a Muslim market, it's a sign that the seller, the one who is selling you, is a Muslim. And then, in turn, taking from a Muslim is a sign that religious requirements are observed. So we have two signs. A sign of sign. Taking from Muslim market is a sign that he is a Muslim. And taking from a Muslim is a sign that, inshallah, he has done all the checking. But it is amara, it's not a proof. Yeah, it's amara, means it's an indication, an evidence. And the reason, yes.
Can it be said here that the asalat al-sihha, the other qaida that we learned, overlaps? So when you have yad al-Muslim, that asalat al-sihha is that zibh is sahih. So both of them overlap?
Yeah. If you know that that Muslim has done the zibh, then you have asalat al-sihha. But if you don't know he has done zibh, it's not asalat al-sihha.
But if you know,
did you get?
Yes.
It's a good question, very good question you asked. But this answer also has to be remembered. Asalatu sihha fi fi'l al-Muslim can be applied when you know that Muslim has done something and you don't know whether has done it properly or not. But when I go to a butcher and I buy meat, I'm not sure zeb has been done or not. So we need something more. Asalatu sihha is not solving the problem. Fiqh is very, very precise, and unless you have really worked hard for decades, these details will not be known. Those who don't know, they think Maraja, easily give fatwa, but it's very difficult because everything is with a little difference from one rule goes to another rule,
So the yad al-Muslim is to say that he is the business owner of this butcher company, for example.
Yeah. Yad shows the ownership
of business.
But this qaida shows that it is also slaughtered. So when it is meat from a Muslim butcher or Muslim seller. So why there is such a kind of sign? How this works? Maybe because if you say, I'm not convinced, maybe it's a Muslim market, but this person is not a Muslim, or maybe it's from a Muslim hand, but maybe he has not done zip properly. We say, yes, here we are not after mathematical certainty. Yeah? We look for ghalib. Ghalaba means a high percentage of majority. Yeah, because if in fiqh you want to prove, and reach 100% certainty, life becomes very difficult. So we say, what is the general situation? Yeah, the general situation is that in a Muslim market, things are done Islamically. Can I say Wallah? No. I cannot say Wallah, this is halal. But I don't need to say Wallah, this is halal. As long as I cannot say this is proved to be haram, I can trust the Muslim market. Okay? So, لما كان الغالب في السوق. I read only very fundamental sentences. لما كان الغالب في السوق تواجد المسلمين فيه. Because what is the dominant paradigm in Muslim market is that Muslims are selling there. So if someone has a shop in a Muslim market, then it brings to your mind that this should be a Muslim, although there is no proof. يكشف عن كون صاحبه مسلما. This is the first point. Then after we come to the conclusion that this is a Muslim, then we say لما كان الغالب Muslim does all the checking. Again, ghalib, not 100%. Then we say, so this Muslim has done zip properly. But always is just a matter of, high likelihood, not 100%. Okay, so market is a sign that this is a Muslim butcher or shopkeeper, and buying from a Muslim butcher or shopkeeper is a sign that it is done properly. That's what we want here. Inshallah, after Salat we can continue. Inshallah. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin.